Hi everyone, I'm Deepa. I am the founder and CEO of Journyz from Zinda. It is a web and mobile software for the purpose of helping companies act as one. Welcome to ShaktiShots. Today's topic is something that is very near and dear to our hearts, especially considering what we are all going through as a community right now. It's all about COVID, Corona, right? So today, the topic is all about how to have emotional intelligence while dealing with adversity. So that is what today's ShaktiShot is all about. So just as a reminder, with ShaktiShot, what we have is we have people that we have invited that have one of two things. They have either a secret sauce or they have a superpower that they will share with us on how to solve the challenge that we are facing. So today's challenge is emotional intelligence while dealing with adversity. And our guest today is Popi Makris. She is an amazing person. I've known Popi for a long time. I am going to ask Popi to introduce herself. Popi, you're not on mute, are you?
No, can you hear me okay?
I can hear
Excellent.
you. Awesome.
Excellent.
Popi, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Deepa. Thank you very much. My name is Popi Makris, and I'm an Agile coach, a transformation coach. I've worked with a number of top 10 financial services companies. I've been in this space for over 20 years, worked for big 5 consulting firms, and have done quite a bit of consulting when it comes to making big changes happen and preparing people for transformations. I've made a bit of a pivot from the financial world. I am supporting the education space at this point, and I've also started a nonprofit to kind of help bring a lot of the types of robotics programming to young children that might not necessarily have access to it. So I'm very familiar with change, not only personally, but also in the corporate space. Thank you for having me.
That is, of course, Popi, that is a lot. So you went from nonprofits to financial services to education, but you still dabble in Agile and nonprofits and children's education.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
And a lot of coaching and helping enable people and help them understand, regardless of where you're at, what the intelligence that you need to have over your emotions in order to to be aware and to just be present in the moment and just be able to focus on how to handle yourself and understanding where certain emotions lie.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not sure about you, Popi, but I have been struggling the last 2 to 3 weeks. Work from home, on the one side, you turn the TV on and there is all these rising numbers of Corona cases, right? Where you feel this sense of, I don't have any control over anything at all.
Yeah.
That is on one side. And on the other side, on the personal front, this working from home thing is driving me crazy. So it's not that I'm a stranger to working from home, not at all. I'm an entrepreneur. I've worked from home quite a bit, and I'm used to working from home when I was working in corporations as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this, handling 5 people at home and dealing with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and not knowing when this is ending,
Sure.
This is just crazy, right? Is it just me, Popi, or are you feeling this at all?
I can tell you that it's everybody. We are creatures of habit. That's what human beings are. And when we have routines, that's how we kind of get through everything day to day. And that's what builds our identity. So we usually have a number of things that we do. We wake up in the morning, we take a shower, we brush our teeth, there's routines, and we bake them into our brains. And when there's a disruption, whatever type of disruption, it's very hard to kind of go back to basics. And so what happens is if you lose a bit of control, you start to look for ways that you can control things. So I think one of the things that we're seeing with the food hoarding and things like that, that lets people think that they've got some control over things that they might not feel like they have control over. And I'd like to show you, if I may, Deepa, some of the tools that we use in the change management space when we're making big changes when we're about to roll them out into large organizations. Is that
absolutely? But there's one thing that you said that caught my attention. You said we try to, when we don't have control, we try to control things that we do have control over. I think I have control over how much ice cream that I can eat.
Yeah.
And, so you think that is totally natural, right?
Well, that's exactly it, right? When you're in the unknown, you have to think about, what is it that I can do,
right,
that I can react to? And that's a human kind of instinct. It goes back to the old part of the brain that we have. It's, it's evolutionary.
Amygdala, right?
Yeah, and it's even further than the amygdala. It's that primitive part of the brain that it kind of tells you, oh, do we run? Do we fight? Do we stay? What do we need to do?
Right.
And so I think this is a good segue to kind of show you how we all feel
absolutely.
about things.
Love to see it, Popi. Yes, okay. Absolutely.
So
I have to say, I think mine is eating.
I'm not sure what mine is, but I want to show you something here, which it was created by a gentleman named John Fisher. And we use this pretty much in all of the change work that, every company does. We know that when change is about to happen, we know that people will go through a variety of emotions. So being able to not only understand these cycles, but also kind of identify where you're at is really kind of key. And so we do this with people, and we share this with the people that we're about to introduce some change to.
So this is like literally an emotional roller coaster. Is that why it's called an emotional roller coaster?
Kind of, sort of. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody feels things very differently, right? If you think about any time that you've had any kind of change in your life, whether it's a loss of a job, or a loss of an object, or something's going to happen, you kind of always go through a bunch of emotions. And when you were mentioning earlier the statistics, when you have that loss of control, you tend to go to the news media to be able to make sense of the things that are happening. So the more you watch it, the more you kind of get absorbed in it, and then it makes you even more anxious than you really are. So stop. Is my advice to everyone. We're in a situation, we don't know what we don't know, but I truly believe that, and you'll see the secret sauce, I think, that I have, is that you have to always believe that here are the facts, here's what we do know, and we will get through this. It is temporary.
So tell us how this works. How does this curve work?
Yeah,
where do you think most people are?
So that's a great question. So when there's change, sometimes when people know that there's change, they get extremely anxious, and some of them might get fearful, and some of them will be in denial, and some will be, kind of waiting for it to happen. And when it happens, then they gradually accept it and they move on and they say, okay, what do I do now? There's a number of different types of, phases that you go to, and you're not going to always be at the same place. So anticipation, once you actually can come to grips with the fact that something is changing, being able to let go, which typically makes you very disoriented because you don't know what the new norm is, and then reappraising the situation, and from there being able to recommit. So this is just a kind of a fun graph here that John Fisher created in 2012 about personal transition. And it just shows you that, like, even if you just look at the body language of all of the animated characters, you'll see some of them saying, can I cope? What change?
Right.
There's no change. This isn't for me. I'll make this work. You're a little bit all over the place. And
oh, this is me for sure, Popi. I can see myself in every single one of these.
Well, that's a very, very valid point, Deepa. You see, it doesn't mean that you're going to be in one space and you're going to stay in that one space. Typically, you move back and forth on this scale. So if I may just jump into this other grid here, we use this chart, or at least I've used it a number of times, when we go into a large organization and we're about to introduce some transformational change. We know it's going to affect people culturally. So we try to kind of understand, where is everyone at? So we usually put a graph like this up on a big wall someplace, and we give people little dots to go up and kind of put an anonymous dot on where they are, how they're feeling. Because once we know where everybody's at, then we can address things. So I'll give you an example. One time we did this, and everybody was over in that anticipation piece over on the left-hand side. And, and when we kind of drilled into why that whole grouping was there, knowing that you usually have people all across the board, well, we found out that they had just laid off a number of people. So they were all kind of very, very anxious. So it's very important to be able to have that emotional intelligence with yourself and to be able to share it and to call it out so that you can actually work on what do I do next.
So you're saying that this is something that can be used not just in an organizational setting,
Absolutely.
but also in a personal setting as well.
Without a
we can
doubt.
discipline ourselves.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. Let's say you go through a personal situation. Being able to understand that whatever just happened is temporary, that things will change, helps you kind of move through this curve. So, you know,
Gotcha.
I know you'll ask me, where am I right now with this whole COVID situation? And, you know, the fact that you and I are kind of doing this bit of an interview means that, you know, we've well been past that disorientation phase, and we're kind of focusing a little bit on, okay, we're accepting it. Maybe we're being creative about it. That doesn't mean that within an hour, I might still be in this space. I might be back here over in that stress level. I don't know if
when you turn on the TV, right?
Right. So I keep away from media, to tell you the truth. Maybe I'll check in once a day, go, oh my gosh, okay, my prediction was, you know, off, or, you know, whatever.
Right.
But what can I control? I can control that I can stay home. I can control that, you know, we don't kind of interact with many people. So, you know, you keep that contamination number down.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Deepa? Where do you think you are?
You know, I think you're right, Poppy. I think I'm honestly around this area where I think last week for sure I think I was around this area. I don't think I was denying it, or I was anxious, or I don't think I was ever here, but I was kind of in this mode of, but I want to do something about it. I want to do something about it, you know, and what can I do? Unfortunately, I cannot do anything.
Right.
Then this is where, you know, the whole ShaktiShots thing, as we discussed, is a way for us to actually control what we can control, and, you know, be able to help others while helping ourselves, right?
Right, exactly.
So this is, I think you're right. I think I'm about maybe the whole creativity part of it. I'm definitely very impatient. You know, there's a little bit of energy going on there. Somewhere here.
And I can tell you that early last week, I was so, you know, looking at the news, looking at this and that, and I had to catch myself and say, stop, right? Stop. You're making yourself more confused. You're not doing anything all day long except stressing. You can't control this. It's in motion now. So if you can't control it, what can you do? So I can share with you a couple of things that I've been doing.
Awesome, sure.
Okay.
Is this another one of your secret sauces?
It is.
Okay.
Thanks, Deepa. I love the plugs. So I do work with a lot of families. I have been doing a lot of work with, you know, education and after-school programming and robotics and STEM type things. So we have a lot of families that we support, which, you know, we can't offer any classes to right now. So we've pivoted all of our learning online, which has been kind of interesting and exciting. The kids love it. You know, like the parents are a little like, oh, I don't know how this is going to work. And I'm like, trust me, the kids know much more. But what we do is we have like a daily check-in with our families. So we kind of send this out and we ask them, what are you grateful for today, right? Being able to say, okay, there's a situation, but you know what? I have so many great things that are in my life, and I'm grateful for ABC, my family, my health, etc. I also ask them, did you get some sunlight? I know we have the stay-at-home orders, but you need to get that sunshine. You need to get that vitamin D. It's paramount.
Do you live in the South, Poppy?
I do.
Okay.
It's actually, it's fantastic out here.
Change the question for Chicago. Did you get some air today? You know?
You get some air, but there's still sunlight somewhat out there, yes. So you see what we're doing here, Deepa, is great. Like, we're laughing. Did you do something fun today, right? You got to keep that in check, right? You have to keep that humor going, because many of us, like you said, are home. And when we're home, you know, our identity is a little different than it would be in that 9-to-5 space. And now you have all these people at home. And so you got to keep you know, the stress level is definitely high because you can't do the work if you're on like video or something. I have young kids in the other room, so you got to keep it light and fun. So I think that's really important. And then I think also very importantly is being able to check in on someone. So
very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Reaching out, you know, sending a note to like assisted living facilities, right? Like sending videos, things like that. You need to kind of be checking in because we're humans, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, this is awesome, Popi. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Deepa. I hope that helps, and thanks for having me on today.
Oh, absolutely. Popi, if you can let's get back on the screen. If you can stop sharing, we can get our faces back on the screen again. Yeah, awesome. So this was awesome. So this was it. This was the ShaktiShots right there, which is, we talk about a problem, we talk about a secret sauce or a superpower that you have to solve the problem immediately. No talking, action. I want action. We're all action-oriented people, right? So, so if you guys are interested, so one of the things that we are doing as part of the ShaktiShots is doing a Shakti challenge, which is if you're interested in challenging yourself to do some of these secret sauces or superpowers, let me know, and we will actually keep adding. We are creating this community of makers and fakers and doers and action-oriented people who are really in there helping each other and helping each other succeed, right? So if you're interested in participating in a challenge, let us know, and we will add you to the challenge. And in the meantime, have a great day. We will talk to you later. Thank you, Popi. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye, all.
Take care.
Bye. Take care.